All right. Let's keep in mind those loved ones who lost from the 9/11.
Yeah.
We also need to keep that in mind today. But as always, as usual, like to welcome you to this time we're looking at iPad accessibility features, dictation, voice control. We did cover some was it last week or the week before?
Week before,
So
I think.
we're going to cover some more today. But before we get into it, let me go ahead and read the disclaimer, and then we head straight in. Meanwhile, we'll have others joining. Okay, so the Wilderness Technology Alliance DC iPad program, its owners and presenters offer technical assistance, virtual health, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on the information in any application or topics made by the Wilderness Technology Alliance, including but not limited to mobile and device applications, any social media pages maintained by the Wilderness Technology Alliance DCI program, its owners, all presenters, as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. All right. I want to thank you for being patient on that note, allowing me to read that. And because I didn't read it, Brenda would remind me to do so.
Of course.
Okay. So in part one, we looked at we did voiceover, but we're just going to touch on what we covered in part one so we can get back into the mode for part two. So the iPad accessibility features on your iPad has 4 categories. I don't know if you all have taken a look at it, but you should.
Vision.
And those, we have 4 categories. We have vision, we have physical and motor, we have hearing, and then general. These are 4 categories. And to even access that, you would have to go into settings and then into accessibility as pointed here in red, and you tap on that, and then you'll see just what is shown here on my screen. Okay? Mm-hmm. Please stop me if you have a question, right? Feel free. This is interactive. And the vision section is voiceover for those with really limited vision. And it's for those who barely is completely blind can use the voiceover. There's Zoom for those who have some vision but limited. Then there's hover text. There's the display text to enlarge the text to suit your vision. There's motion. There's spoken content, and then there's audio description. In the physical part, there's touch, there's switch control, there's voice control, there's the home button, there's the Apple TV, there's remote pointer control, and then there's the keyboard. This all falling under the physical. And then there's the hearing section, which covers hearing, sound recognition, RTT, which we haven't even touched that yet. At some point, will in the future. Then there's audio and visual, and then there's subtitles and captioning. Is there anybody here in this group feel a need for us to go over voice control? Because this particular section is not on voice control, but we covered it, and I don't know, sometimes we get newcomers come in and I'm not aware of it, and I don't want to jump right into things. Everybody's comfortable with what voice control is? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. So the next thing then I'm going to look at is, hold on.
In this video.
Let me go to this one. This is the one that this is where we're heading today. Dictation. How to use voice dictation. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's look at a brief video on it, and then we'll go into the how and the various aspects of it. Oh, let me make sure. Can you hear it? Is the sound?
Yes.
Is the sound in place? You can hear it?
Yeah. Okay, it's very low.
To enable voice dictation, you need to go into the Settings app and then go to General, Keyboard. On the bottom of the keyboard page is a little toggle to enable dictation. If you've not used dictation before, you will need to go through a couple of steps to enable things, and you have the choice of sharing your recordings of Apple if you wish to. I've chosen not to do that on my iPad. Then go back into the app you were using, for example, Pages, and bring up the keyboard again. From here, all you need to do is press on the microphone button that's now appeared next to the spacebar, and then you can begin talking into your iPad. Siri dictation will then take your words and transcribe them as text on your screen for you. This doesn't have a 100% accuracy rate, but I found it to be pretty reliable when I've used it myself, and you can always go back afterwards and you can correct changes using the keyboard. Please note that this does need to be online to work, particularly on older iPads. However, iPad Pros can do this offline. When you're done, simply press the keyboard button at the bottom of your screen, and that will turn off voice dictation, and then you can use the normal keyboard to make changes as you need to. It's a really powerful tool to let children express themselves through their voice if they find typing on a keyboard difficult.
This gives you some idea of how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how to use dictation and edit text with voice control on your iPad. With voice control, you can use dictation, you can edit your voice, your emails, your notes, messages, and anywhere where you can type. Apple introduced an all-new dictation experience, which you all should have. All of you should have this in the iPad OS 16 operating system. You can now fluidly move between dictating with your voice and using the keyboard. Simply just tap anywhere on your iPad virtual keyboard or a connected keyboard while you are dictating. And as you can see here, I have an image of what the keyboard looks like and what you should be looking for when planning to dictate. You're looking for this right here, this microphone. That's what will allow you to, you get the keyboard up and running. Let's say you wanted to send a message, but you need to dictate it. You would go into your message app. You would then tap on to create a new message, place your finger in there. The keyboard will now come up, and that's where then you now can tap on the microphone here to begin dictating your message.
So Teresa, if you want to use the keyboard, do you tap the microphone and start typing? Or how does that work?
No, okay. To get the keyboard up when creating a message, the first thing you want to do is, of course, let's say you wanted to send a message to me. You need to get my either my phone number or my email address, right?
Right.
That's where you place your finger. Once you place your finger in there, your keyboard will automatically come up.
Okay. So what if you have an external
keyboard is up? Huh?
So what if you have the external keyboard? So
that's a good question. You will then have to go into settings and actually set it up to use the external keyboard.
Oh,
and
okay.
some external keyboards, you'll see in a video I will show in a little while, they're actually showing you how to get it set up with an external keyboard. So just give me a second and we'll show that. So you wanted to dictate a message. So you go into your message app, and then from there you enter the person's name or whatever. After you've done that, then the keyboard is now visible. You tap on the you see where it says tap to begin dictation. That's what you're tapping on, and then whatever you say, it will start writing it for you on that message. You have to be careful because sometimes I forget to turn it off, and I'm there teaching, and guess what? Everything I'm teaching is dictating on a message. It has happened a few times a while. So I went in there and turned it off. I don't use it because of that. Okay, so when you want to touch input, you move the cursor here freely to the field. This is here. This is what your keyboard looks like. This is what you're looking for to make the necessary edits or dictation. In notes, you do the same thing. You go into notes. This is your note app. You tap, say you want to begin to document, to write a note. Keyboard comes up. Look for, again, this mic. Okay? If you want to stop, dictation, there are two ways to do so. One way is to just total on the dictation icon. You might just tap that, or you basically just stop speaking, and for 30 seconds, it will stop dictating. Okay, this, of course, the second one is where you you tap on the dictation icon at the bottom right hand of the keyboard. So how do you edit with voice? Let's find out. There's another video. I've got like a couple of them, but here's another one to get you started.
With voice control in iOS 13, you can use dictation to enter and edit text with your voice, which is useful if you have limited mobility. Here's how to use dictation, edit text, and use dictation, commands, and gestures together. Before you start, install iOS 13 or later on your device, and make sure voice control is turned on by going to your accessibility settings or by asking Siri. If this is your first time using it, check out the links in the description below to learn how to get started and use basic navigation. We're going to start by sending a quick message, but these commands will work in any app you can type in. When voice control is active and listening, you'll see a blue microphone in the top left corner of your screen. To enter new text with dictation, make sure you're in an active text box and then start speaking. By the way, comma, cake or flan, period. Don't forget to include punctuation as well. Oops, need to delete something? Delete previous character. This command will delete the last character you entered. You can also delete your last dictation by saying, undo that. Let's try again, question mark. To edit something at the very beginning of a text field or document, you can move the cursor. Move to beginning. Oh, ellipses. That's better. Tap send. Voice control allows you to edit existing text and make even more corrections. Let's add a new item to this note. Main activity, party clown. You can easily replace a word or phrase if you change your mind. Replace party clown with giant piñata. Need to make another correction? Voice control understands commands like move up 2 lines. Select previous word. Capitalize that. For a list of helpful commands, just say, show me what to say. These suggestions will change depending on the app you're using. Say, tap done to go back. If you want to correct a word, you can ask to see a list of suggestions. Select confetti. Correct that. These suggestions could be to correct spelling, show similar words, or even show relevant emoji. Say a number to make a correction. 4. If you want to stop voice control from listening for dictation, like if you're in a noisy environment, say command mode. This will pause dictation, but will stay active for navigation commands. To turn dictation back on, say dictation mode. Voice control can tell the difference between general dictation and commands, like to open an app or tap a button. Open messages. iMessage. Happy birthday! Exclamation point. Looking forward to seeing you Friday night. Cake emoji. Long press send. Tap screen. Swipe left. Swipe left. Tap send with balloons. And there you have it, a hands-free way to type and edit. For more about Apple's accessibility features, subscribe to the Apple Support channel or click another video to keep learning.
So how did you like the one when she said send with balloons?
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, it was cute.
Wasn't that
Emojis.
Now, most of the features she talked about here was to do with if you have an iPhone and you were sending a message from the actual phone. Okay, but the iPad, similar, very, very similar in the dictation part of it. You can speak the same way and ask it to do the things the same way. As long as you have an operating system that is greater than the 16, and you all do, all of you have operating iOS 16. All right. So that's just some ideas of how to get started. Let me get this back to slideshow. All right. So turning on dictation again. So again, depending on how your keyboard looks, this is where this keyboard, I think all of your keyboard, your on-screen keyboard should have the mic right down in this corner here. Right? Would you agree? Your on-screen keyboard?
Yes. Mhm.
You know where to find it. Right. Right? All right. So turning it up. Taking notes, as I mentioned, you could take notes by dictating your notes. Okay. You can use the touch function to select copy or insert a quick text, a quick type suggestion, all without discontinuing dictation. This eliminates the need to restart dictation every time you want to make your voice important. So you could start off dictating, you could stop, come back, and it will continue. But make sure what must be on? The mic.
The
The
microphone.
mic needs
Right.
to be on. Yep, that's the key right there. All right. Here's in the message app, you might want to look for the microphone here also. Do you see it in mine? I'm
Yeah.
pointing to in red. You're about to you want to send a message out, and the first thing you want to look for is that mic. Tap on that, and then it will begin listening, and everything you say, it will start editing. If you want to change the words that you input wrongly in the text field while dictating, you can use the cursor to go back to that word that you inputted that's incorrect, to select the word or portion of the text and directly speak the new one. Okay? Because I know when I'm doing dictation, sometimes the information it's not understanding my dialect, my tone, whatever, and it will put in a word that I have no intention of using. And how do I correct that word? I need to use the cursor, go back to that word, and it takes commands. It takes punctuation. For example, you can insert a punctuation mark or symbol into the text by simply mentioning the name of the symbol while dictating. Okay? You just mention the name of it, whether it's plus or what is it, ampersand, whether it's equal sign, whatever it is, you can mention it. You can put in emojis. Yep, there's lots of them. You can see, for example, in the video you watched, remember the one that said emoji cake or cake emoji?
Yeah.
What was it?
Mhm.
And the cake showed
Like
up.
cake.
And it showed up. Yep.
Mhm.
All right, so now we're going to look at the actual how to set it up. And this one is a little lengthy, but you know.
But Teresa,
Okay, hold on.
Teresa,
Go ahead.
before you go, now I'm looking at my iPhone, and to get the microphone to show up, my microphone is not showing up. So what do I need to have on for that microphone to show up in notes?
So you're in notes. Did you tap on it so that the keyboard would?
Let me go back to notes. I'm in
Tap
notes.
on it. Is
So tap on compose.
Yep, compose.
Okay, I tapped on compose. I don't see a microphone though.
There's a keyboard show.
Yes. Oh, here's a microphone.
And
Oh.
On the keyboard.
Okay, it's on the keyboard.
Okay.
I see it.
Yeah.
See it. Okay, now that's
Okay.
that's for
But that's
notes. What about for What about for, let's see, compose an email? Okay,
And
compose.
you go to email, same thing. You
The
place your
keyboard.
finger somewhere.
Oh, yes. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
You're welcome, Geraldine. Good question.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
So this is what we're going to watch for a little 6 minutes long, and he's going to go in step by step on how to set it up. So
my name is Dan Wasink, and I create tutorials, video tutorials on how to use the Mac, iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, and Apple TV. In this video, we're going to look at the new Smarter Dictation on the iPad with iPad OS 16. The iPad will now continuously listen to us. We can use the keyboard as we're dictating, and we can speak memojis. We also have a new shortcut in the Messages app where we can easily dictate within a message. Let's see what's new with dictation on the iPad.
Teresa, the volume went down.
Also going
okay,
to select
hold
a
on, let
word
me
and
stop it
correct
for a
that
little
word.
bit and then
what I'm going
see if I can get, hold on, just give me a second. I don't know how it went down, but you never know with technology. Hold on. Okay.
I'm going to do is also show the keyboard, and you're
Let me
going
know
to
if
be
it's
able to see
improvement.
that. You can type
Yeah.
along with the dictation. I will also add an emoji in there just by speaking it. Now, this new dictation is available on any app that you can use or type in with the keyboard. But I'm just going to show you on the Notes app here, and then we'll go over to the Messages app, and I'll show you what's new with the Messages app and dictation. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is show you the keyboard. I have an external keyboard on my iPad here. If I want to start dictating, what I do is I tap on the microphone here, and then when I am done, I tap on this microphone again. Now, if you do not have an external keyboard, what do you do? Well, I'm going to show the virtual keyboard here. What you'll do is go over to the left of the space bar, and you're going to see the little microphone here. Again, when you are done, you tap on this microphone, or up in the area where your cursor is, you're also going to see a floating icon where you can stop the dictation once it notices that you have paused or you are not speaking anymore. So I'm going to dictate a paragraph here. You're going to notice again that I'm not going to speak any punctuation. I'm also going to change a word, and I'll use the keyboard at the same time. So let's go ahead and do that. I just go down to my keyboard here, and I tap on the dictation button. Apple introduced an all-new dictation experience on the iPhone with iOS 16. You can now fluidly move between dictating with your voice and using the keyboard. Just tap anywhere on your iPhone while you are dictating. Isn't this cool? Oh, wait. I did this with the iPad, so I need to correct this. iPad. There, that looks better. New paragraph. Isn't this cool? Smiley face emoji. And now we can see we have my paragraph here. I did not speak any punctuation, but we do have a period in there. We have my emoji in here, and I went and corrected it. I double tapped on iPhone and spoke iPad, and it replaced it. Then I went and replaced the iPhone here, and I typed out iPad. I was able to use the keyboard at the same time as I was dictating. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of improvement with dictation. Now let's take a look at the Messages app and what they changed with the Messages app. Again, we can use this dictation anywhere on any app that uses a virtual keyboard or uses a keyboard. But with the Messages app, let's go to my Messages app here. What you're going to see over on the right is a little dictation button here. I'm going to move this over to the left here. You're going to see that we have the little dictation button here to the right of the Messages. Now, what used to be here was the audio recording app. when you tap and hold on this blue icon here and speak, the iPad would listen to you, or it still does, it listens to you, and then it creates an audio recording, and then you can send that to someone. Now, I do not know that many people that use that. I had a friend that used it when it first came out, a little gimmicky, but then basically nobody uses it in my circle of friends and family. But I will tell you that what they will be using, at least I am using, is the new dictation button. All I have to do is just tap on this and speak what I want to say. When I am done, I can stop dictating by tapping on the Stop Dictate button, or I could just tap on the blue button to send it. So let's go ahead and dictate a statement here or a comment here. Are we open for lunch tonight? Oops, I meant dinner. Are we open for dinner tonight? And now we can see it sent that message, it dictated it, it put the question mark in there, and all I had to do was tap on the blue button here. So now you can easily dictate a message just by tapping on the little microphone here and then tapping on send. You don't even have to stop dictating. Just tap on the send button and it'll send what it dictated. So that is what is new with dictation on the iPad with iPadOS 16. We can now dictate continuously. We can use the keyboard at the same time as we're dictating. We can speak emojis. And then with the Messages app, we can now dictate directly into the Messages field. So that's what's new with dictation on the iPad with iPadOS 16.
App, you're looking for the microphone on whether it's message.
Not hearing
App.
anything. Not
I'm
hearing
sorry, but
anything. Oh,
well, perhaps your audio is off. So, Brenda, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can
Teresa.
hear you. So can
Well,
I.
Okay.
I hear
Okay.
I think they
So
think that
your
dictate
audio-
text on iPad was going to be talking, and you're talking.
Right. Okay. I don't know who's not hearing me, but perhaps at the end we can look to see why. But at this moment, I can't really stop to assist you on that. I
hear
can
you.
tell you it's your audio that's off, and you need to be
Yes,
able to turn on your audio. Huh?
I can hear you.
Right. All right. So
Teresa-
with that said, go ahead, Brenda.
Teresa, that first dictation that he read, it didn't put the punctuation mark. You know, it didn't end the sentence and capitalize the next sentence,
Okay.
but then the next one, he did.
He did.
So what happened? What?
Let me tell you what's the difference. What's the
Okay.
difference? It's in settings. You have to turn on if you want
Okay.
punctuation. Automatic, you
okay.
must turn it on. Right?
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
difference. But thanks for bringing that to my attention so that others could understand. Good question.
Okay.
All right.
Teresa,
Go ahead.
I'm glad that
Yes,
I'm glad that he's updated to the 16 version,
16?
OI 16. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
that's really
Yeah.
good. So he's keeping up and keeping us abreast with the current times.
Right. And while we're on that note, I read just yesterday that there's a vulnerability right now in 16, and Apple is asking us to upgrade again. I will let you
Yeah.
know ASAP as soon. It's where the hackers can get in and install. I think it's one of those. It's a malware to actually see what you're doing.
Oh
I'm
my.
going to get the term in a little while. So
Yeah.
keep a sharp eye for that. I just read it just yesterday that they're asking us to update our iPads to, and then operating 17 is going to be in shortly. which will
Okay.
cover that vulnerability. So once you upgrade on the 17, it will cover, but right now they want us to upgrade from one version to the next in 16 to cover it. But I'll let Alex, we'll look at it and then we'll actually do it one afternoon this week because we want everybody to make sure that they're upgrading based on the vulnerability that does exist right now.
Yes, the
Now-
16.6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and,
I
we,
think-
and if
16.6.
it does it automatically, we don't have to do it, do we?
No, if it doesn't, no.
Okay,
But it just to make sure if your system is set up to do it automatically.
okay.
All right, so here's another place where you can dictate on the web. It's a dictation request are processed on your device in many languages. No internet connection is required. When you dictate in a search field, and I think you all have tried, do you use that on your phone? You dictate things? Anybody use that?
I do.
feature?
No, I don't.
Right.
I
Mhm.
dictate on reminders, and I dictate in look when I'm looking
Okay.
for something, and the microphone is available.
Good. So some of you are already using. Here's another feature, the text of any length. When you use an on device dictation, you can dictate text of any length without a timeout. You could stop dictation manually, or it stops automatically when you stop speaking for 30 seconds. I think I mentioned that earlier.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So here are the steps to get started. The first thing you want to do is to you want to go to enable dictation. Number one, you need to go where? Settings.
Eddie.
This what's showing here. This is your settings app. You want to tap on that. Once you get into settings, you go to general, then to keyboard. Okay.
Yeah.
Then it will ask you if you to enable, and I'll do it in a little while on the actual iPad. I'll actually show you again.
Keyboard.
As you speak, it will insert the text. iPad automatically inserts the. Now you can turn on punctuation. This is what you questioned a little while ago, Brenda.
Okay.
Turning on and off automatic punctuation. Notice here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, all right, you have the option for that. All right. The touch screen, which is what we're using here, and except for Brenda, who has a now. Brenda, you're not going to be getting a second external keyboard, am I correct?
Yes.
I'm telling you, you are lucky when it comes to these things. I don't know what it is. And it's
Them
all
dogs in
random.
my
It's not like that's your luck. That's what it is.
Yes.
It says on the screen to perform a cursor editing actions like quick text suggestions in text on undertaken action with the help of dictation, like replacing a selected. Yeah, this is basically saying that you can replace a selected text that you're not happy with.
Okay.
Okay, here's Siri. The smoothest way to, she heard me on my phone. The smoothest way to get best hands-free experience dictation is to use it in combination with Siri. Just Siri, so you can wake up your assistant and prompt it to launch any Siri-supported app. For example, you can prompt Siri to start a note and continue in the text field with voice input after turning on dictation. So you can get Siri to start it. Here's Siri's get me note. And Siri will go and get notes for you on your iPad. She will do that. All right. If you have your grandkids over, here you go. You can have the iPad read to them. Yep.
Wow.
All right. You can change the speech. If you don't like the speech, you can go into settings, and we'll look at that in a little while and change the speech. You can slow it down, speed it up, change the language or the tone. You can have either an American dialect or a British dialect, whatever it is. Okay. Now this is for Siri. Anybody here not sure about how Siri works? Because we do this every other week. Not sure how Siri actually gets started. How do you enable Siri to get it to be functional, for it to listen to you? Anyone?
Yeah, you say Siri.
Hey Siri.
Well, you know
Right.
what?
But
Since we updated it, we don't have to say hey, because on mine I just say Siri and it'll come up.
Okay.
And she starts having a conversation, answering you talking to somebody else.
Here's another feature. Here, audio descriptions for video content on iPad. If you have a video content that includes description of sciences, the iPad can play the description for you. How do you do that? You go to settings, you go to accessibility, audio description, and turn it on. It will tell you. So that brings us to the end of this. So I'm going to switch now to the actual iPad, and we'll go through the end this show. Let me stop sharing here. Now I'm going to switch now to the iPad. So if you have any questions about what we just covered, here's your chance now to get a better picture of it on the actual iPad. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So I'm in settings now. And again, to access the dictation, which is what we covered. Anybody remember where we go to access the enable dictation?
Accessibility.
Accessibility. Yeah, I remember.
Let's try again. Let's try again.
General. Go to general
Enable
first.
dictation part.
General. Settings to general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then
Accessibility.
I ain't gonna shut seven. I just don't remember.
I went to dictation.
Board. Right, which is general. So let's say you don't remember, like, so you just type in the search, you want to go to keyboard, because keyboard is where you're going to turn on the what?
Microphone.
The mic. You got to turn it on from here. So basically, as you could see from my screen here, I went to key, I typed in key in here, and the keyboard came up, and here it is here. And I'm going to drop my keyboard just for a little while so you could see what I'm talking about. Let's drop my keyboard. And here's all of the features that you will need to get dictation functional. Let's go down to the dictation. Do you see dictation?
Yes.
That's where I have mine enabled and auto punctuation off. If I don't want it to do an auto punctuation, I turn it off. That way it would not punctuate. Okay?
Okay.
But okay. Emoji. If I want emoji to be visible, yep, I turn it on here. So let's go back. Let's now go to the actual accessibility features. So now I'm going to go to accessibility. And all I'm going to do is type in here ACC, and it should begin to show up. Yep, accessibility. Drop the keyboard. And remember when I started, I said there's 4 categories in accessibility. There's vision, which I covered in part 1. And then today we covered dictation in the physical and motor part. We covered the keyboard part. That's what we covered. Okay? Today. And then, of course, is the hearing, which I haven't done yet, but I will be doing that in the future for those who have limited hearing. And then there's the general section here that has Siri that we just talked about, accessibility shortcuts, and per apps. Okay. If we were to tap on the keyboard section here, we want full. Now, Brenda, you talked about that external keyboard, remember?
Yeah,
Do you use your external keyboard on your iPad?
I do. And it doesn't have the microphone on it. I've looked at it and
It
checked.
doesn't.
It doesn't have
looking
that
to
mic
see.
on it.
Mm,
Maybe the new one will.
yeah. Well, did you get that first one from us, or did you purchase
Yes,
that?
yes, I did.
yourself?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So this is what the hardware part of it, accessibility features, looks like. But over here, as you could see, we have, let's go to, first, before I even go, any questions? And I can begin to elaborate on it from what I'm showing you. Anybody have any questions on any of these features that you want to know more about in settings?
I'm just trying to absorb what we're learning.
I missed the 4.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that. Repeat.
The four areas that you mentioned. Vision, physical, hearing. I'm missing the last one.
General. Let's go back.
Okay.
If we go back into accessibility, we've got vision, we've got physical, we have hearing, and then we have general.
Oh, okay, general.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Now, notice my accessibility shortcut is turned off, but you can turn it on. And this is what it looks like when it's turned on. You can have assistive touch, background sounds, hover over text. These are shortcuts. And that actually, if you can see on my screen that arrow, do you see that arrow in gray?
Yes,
This
at the
is-
bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom. Yeah.
This is for vision. Actually, I've got it turned on here, but we'll get into that. Do I want to increase the contrast, magnifier? All these things you can turn on to suit what works best for you. And this is configured, and it says here the home button to toggle features on and off. These are the shortcuts. You can have magnifier turned on and so forth. Zoom, or zoom, voice over. These are all shortcuts. That's your shortcut features. All right. Now I'm going to leave we've got a few more minutes for questions. Let me look to see, do we have any hands raised? Let's see. No hands. Are there any questions while we're here in settings that we can explore? Did you like
Teresa,
to
when you
explore?
set up the shortcuts, is that on your face of your iPad, or how do you go right to your shortcuts?
All right, let's go back now, and I'm gonna see. All right, I just changed everything, and let's see. And that's a very good question. How does it? Hold on. It needs to be something else needs to be enabled. Let me check that.
Oh, okay.
Let me check. But I'm glad you asked me that question, so I myself can become familiar with using it. I don't necessarily use it at times. So it's the accessibility shortcuts right?
Mm-hmm. Shortcuts.
I'm looking it up. Shortcuts and the iPad. Okay. Let's see what they're saying here. What happens after you set it up? how do I get rid of the accessibility? What are the a quick way to, it's saying here that accessibility shortcuts are a quick way to turn on accessibility apps. Ah, that's the key. Turn on the accessibility apps or switch between apps. So what do they mean by that? For example, I'm going back into settings, and if I wanted to use, if let's say I need to use accessibility features, but I'm in an app that that will allow me to use it. Not every app allows for accessibility features. In case you weren't aware of that, not every app does. So for app settings, so let's go down here and see what they're saying. Add apps. So you now have to turn on the apps. Do you need accessibility? Apps that you use frequently, that you would like to have accessibility features available. And I notice it's not showing on my screen. Why is it
Home screen?
Yeah,
app
it's not
store,
showing on my screen.
calendar, camera, clock, contents,
Can you see it?
contact.
Yeah.
See where it says
Choose app to
customize?
customize. Yes.
Right, right. You now have to select what apps you would like customized for using the accessibility features. So let's look and see what apps. This FaceTime that you might need it. I'm looking to see this Gmail. These are all different features. Here's message. I've just placed message. That will have shortcuts for accessibility feature. I just placed message on the list. Let me add another one. Calendar. I've just placed that on the list. So what I'm going to do now that I've placed it on the list, I'm now going to go to messages and see if there's any shortcuts available. Right?
Okay.
So oh, there it is. Now I can turn on in messages. Here are all the various things I want to set up in messages. Right now, I've got the default, but I can increase my text size in messages. Okay, that's one. What else? I can, it has the default contrast, but I can turn on. What I'm doing is customizing the accessibility features in the message app. That's what I'm doing. I'm customizing it. What else do I? Autoplay video previews. Well, that wouldn't apply. I can bold. All right, so now I'm going to go to my message app and see if any of those changes are available because I turned them on, right?
Right.
So let's go to the message app and see. Aha, look at that.
Oh, okay.
Everything is now changed. Everything is done for me. Notice my text are larger, bolder.
Older.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Makes sense now?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
And you do that with whatever app. So let's go back to settings. I'm going back to settings, and I could choose another app I want to make changes to. So I'm going to go back, and I added, what apps? Oh, I added the calendar. Let's do calendar. Yeah, I did add the calendar, right? So let's
Right.
go to the calendar app and see what took place there. So here's my calendar app. And it should make a change because I made the change. It's sharper, but what changes did I make there? Let's go back and see. What did I ask it for? In the calendar app, I didn't make, so I can make it bold, right? I can turn that on. All right. What else should I ask? Increase the contrast. I can do that. I could turn that on. I can make the text larger. Hold it up. All right, so now I'm going to go and see if it made those changes. I'm going to go to the calendar app. There we go.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Do you all see now how to customize each app
Yes,
Mhm.
for your
right.
needs? So if you have a limited vision, here, increase the text, everything. So it becomes, more visible for you. Any
Okay.
questions on this one?
Mm-mm.
Come on, this is your time I can do another app if you want me to. Somebody select an app I should do.
The reminders app.
The reminders app. All right, so let's look for, let's add
Is that on there? I don't know if
I'm
it's
gonna
on
look,
there.
see if it's on the list. We're looking for a reminder. Books, camera. There's a camera, I know you all use it. There's contacts that you use regularly.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to do 9311. You might want to increase that. Let's see.
Facebook.
It's Facebook. Keynote.
Library, magazine, news, next door. Reminders. There we are.
You see, okay, yep.
Okay.
So now I've got to go into reminder now and say, what do I want customized in reminder? Do I want the text to be bold? Yes, I do.
Yep.
So turn it on.
Mhm.
All right. What else do I want? Do I want to increase the contrast to make it sharper? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
All right. Do I want the text to be larger? Yes.
Yes.
And turn it up. All right. So now I'm going to go to the reminder app and look to see if the changes took place.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
It-
Yeah, that's bigger.
That's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that, you've gained something more from this morning's session than you started out with.
Yep. Yep.
I learn something every time we come on here.
So Teresa, the when you
I
go
do
to
too.
make changes, you can just go to the app itself and the changes will be made. So that's how you access to your shortcuts, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
It changes
Just-
what you think.
You make your change. Okay, got it.
Got it. All right. Now that we've come to that end of any more questions before I wrap up on this